Welcome, everybody, to the 12 Beers of Christmas, the wonderful, happy holidays time here at City Brew Tours. Not only are we having a great time, everyone had their festival festivities, holiday time, had just wonderful time. Past couple days. Now, for the next 12 days, we're gonna have wonderful beers, wonderful times, and we're just gonna be enjoying each other over the next hour or so. We got a great beer. We've got some things coming up over the next couple day or next couple the hour or so as we talk about how we're gonna do it this year. What's gonna be a little the same? What's gonna be different? But overall, we're just going to have some fantastic beer together and enjoy everything with this. For those that are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching, enjoying. If there's any technical difficulties, please let us know. Um, also, you know, we're also having a little bit of technical difficulties with the chat on our Zoom link for all of those guys. We will do everything through the Q&A today. I will be answering these questions. I know it's a little bit different. We're going to sort some of this stuff out for our next live stream as well, but we're going to get sorted. We're going to get it figured out. For anyone, all of our new subscribers, our new viewers, our new attendees, thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for coming back. For those that or thank you for coming. You may not know who I am. For all of our return faithful listeners, faithful viewers, you guys know who I am. For those that don't, my name is Jonathan. I'm the host of the City Brew Tours Beer Club. Once a month, a lot of these people get to see me and talk to me. And, we have a good time drinking beer from around the country. Great thing, though, with this holiday box, we are drinking beer from around the country in one box. So we don't have to split it up or anything with that. But we also, you know, we're also just going to start drinking. I know you guys started drinking last night as well. I hope everyone was enjoying that fantastic beer. And if you did not drink the beer last night, that is perfectly fine. I know that, it's a lager. It's great. You see it, you're like, there's not a number one, Jonathan. There's not a number one on that box. It's just a Christmas tree. That's because it's Christmas night. You're supposed to have those gifts under the tree. And that's what we got. We got that beautiful gift under that tree for you guys. The Common Roots Lager is a fantastic beer. If you want to know more about any of the beers throughout the box, over the next 12 days, in your handy little booklet, we do have everything you guys need. So we have in there, we do have how to join. You guys are doing all of that. And so those that are joining, those that are watching, you did it right. You followed the QR code. You followed the link. You found me. You found us here. And we're having a good time for all the beers. We also have them all. I'm going to try to do, there we go. We have them all number by number, day by day. You got that QR code. You can get those tasting notes, the photo of the beer, so you know you've got the right one moving forward with that. You also get to this year, we've got a little rating kind of scale on here. So you get to rate it one out, or no, hopefully not one. Hopefully it's a 5 out of 5 for each one, but you get to rate that out of a 5. And then because taste is subjective, because we all have our own different preferences, our own different, kind of flavors and everything with that. Then we do also have how bitter was it for you? How sweet was it? The acidity. You can also then the ABV you should put what's on the can. Let's just be honest with it. We should do what's on the can. Be a little fair with that. But you know, throw all of that on there. So this allows you to keep track of each of those beverages. Now, I've been talking. I'm going to be talking some more. You guys got me for the next hour talking about beer. I'm going to have some guests. We're going to have a good time. But you also notice that on that day two booklet, That's our featured beer. So if you haven't cracked open that day two, open that day two. I'm gonna grab it out of my box here. All right, we gotta grab it. All right. This is the number we're looking for. We're looking for number two, and that is that lovely Trogs Mad Elf. And so we're gonna crack this open. We're gonna enjoy this beer together. And so we're gonna be going right in here with it. And we are sorry, we're dealing with more technical difficulties because that's it. That's what we're doing. And so we're gonna crack open this Mad Elf. I'm gonna grab this. We'll grab our glass. If you also saw in the box, not only do we have these tasting notes, we have all of these things about all the beers. We have your tasting wheel also in your box. You should have had one of these lovely holiday glasses. This is perfect for this beer as well. I'm gonna throw this Mad Elf right in there. And then I have there it is. Right as I'm pouring this beer, our favorite co-host for the holiday box. Hey Tom, how you doing?
Hey, man, Santa had me on a friggin' errand, man.
I know, I know.
I'm a mad elf.
You're a mad elf.
I'm a mad elf.
This,
I can't believe what he made me do at the last minute there.
you know,
Ah,
This is the perfect beer to get all of your anger out. This is actually a beer that I have every year. So this one, and I'm so glad this is for our live stream. It's a fantastic beer. For those that just poured it, here we go. I'm gonna wait for Tom. I'm gonna wait because I'm
no, I did
not
a
a
bad
mad
pour.
elf.
I did a bad pour. Uh,
No, you did a great pour.
that's a little bit too much head. A
Yeah,
little too
yeah.
much
Like
head.
but see, I have like no head on mine at all. So we're
Yeah.
we're we're compromising for each other. But cheers, salute.
Cheers. I'm changing my name here from pro panelist change name to Mad Elf
And
Tom.
for everyone joining, this live, right? This is how live works. We just go with it.
Oh,
We have a
good.
good time. Uh, we drink beer and we talk. Again, keep throwing us if you guys have questions, if you're having favorites. Keep throwing that into that Q&A. I know there is an issue with
Is the chat not working?
the chat's not working today, Tom, but that's okay. I'm gonna get it sorted for next time. But we're using the
All
Q&A
right.
function. It's working. It's working great. Paul's commenting. He already had an Advent box from his wife, so now he's doing this Advent box. This is fantastic. So we've got it working. We're jumping in there. And I was just telling the lovely people about everything that's in the package, about how to find the beers, all the ratings. And then I was just gonna let everyone know that's all jumping in. Of course, all of our frequent drinkers, all of our attendees from all the years that we've been doing past several years. You will notice we are doing things a little bit different this year. But that's because we want to get you guys the biggest bang for your buck. So we want to make sure we have great content. We're getting you all those beers. So we are doing two live streams, first and last day. We also understand people are busy this time of year. The elves are running around. Tom's running around helping out Santa still on Boxing Day, which normally he has off, but that's okay. Santa, I think he rests on Boxing Day, but that's okay. But it is
Hmm.
also, last night was the first night of Hanukkah. So like we understand everyone's busy. So with that, we're gonna have a good time tonight talking about different styles of beer, different traditions. And then we've got a big show planned for you guys for that day 12. We already have several of the breweries that we're going to be enjoying over the next 12 days. They're going to come on, talk about their beer. We're going to have a nice panel. We're going to have a good time. So we are going to go big for you guys on that day 12, get you guys lots of content. As we're drinking the beers, save up those questions, save up, what would you like? What kind of stuck out with you with all these beers? Of course, you can get little sneak peeks. We're not shy here about sneak peeks. Follow those QR codes, get little ideas, what gets you excited about these beers.
Let's
But
rattle off some of these questions real quick.
yeah.
I improperly answered JTAG's Love Red Ales. with the next question, which is how many people are watching. And currently, at least live on Zoom, we've got about 50 folks.
And then
It's dropped down to 41. I guess they didn't like our start, Jonathan.
I
Uh,
know that was my fault.
so
That's
we've
my
got
fault.
that one.
And we
All
have
right.
31 on YouTube. So we're
Okay.
pushing, what was that, 80? Did I do the math right?
Yeah,
80?
it's somewhere around 80. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
little less than in the last few years. I think we were in the hundreds
Yeah.
for that first day with that. And um, yeah, but that's one thing that we found. Like we really wanted this to be kind of an interactive box and give people opportunity to enjoy it. But out of the thousands of people that buy, you are our favorite, you know, percentage of folks who show
Yes.
up. So thank you for that.
100. Yeah. No, and I understand there is some frustration with the chat not working properly. Completely understand. And I know that we sh we will get it sorted. And I know with only two live streams, it's like, we only got two live streams, but we got this. But we will get it sorted. I think it was just a permission issue, security issue with Zoom. We'll get it sorted for next time. Not a problem at all.
So what
Also,
what carry what happened between this and our CBTBC, my friend? We
uh,
always got the chat going on there for sure, and
So we are actually letting our fellow friends over at the Hanukkah box use the link or the channel that we normally use for our CBTBC.
mm,
And so we are using a little bit different security measure for this account, and that's the problem. That's the
all
problem.
right,
We're letting the Hanukkah folks, they can have the chat. I'm sorry, guys. It's Christmas, folks. We've got 12 days though. So, I mean, we get extra beer. So that I guess that's
yeah.
a plus. That's a plus. We're working with what we got. So we do get extra beer, so that does help. I do also want to give a little bit of a disclaimer with this glass. I love this glass. I've been using it for a couple weeks now. Just test it out. It is a 12-ounce glass. So if you get a 16-ounce beer and start pouring it in this glass, yeah, it's a 12-ounce glass.
Yeah.
I found that out the hard way.
The other thing you'll find out the hard way is you definitely want to hand wash this glass.
Yeah.
Try not. I mean, it'll work in the dishwasher, but those depending on how good your dishwasher is, you're gonna spray those letters right off.
So-
So yeah, these are definitely hand wash only. Sacramento Stout asks us, I'm curious why you did not kick this beer off for Christmas instead of the lager for day one. How do you line up the different days and what goes into the decision making process? So
so,
big common question
yeah.
for that is we always start all of our whether you're on a city brew tour, whether you're doing an unboxed event, we always start off with a lager. And the
Yeah.
reason for that is, Jonathan,
We want to start off with the lightest in flavor, work our way to boldest. We just went straight second to bold on this one, but we
yeah,
want to start light. We don't want to shock our palates. We want to work our way from lighter to bold, so that we don't have start with like an 11% Belgian ale and then go to a nice little lager. So if maybe you decided, hey, I'm not going to open one on the 25th. I'm going to open both of them with the live stream. Then you want to have that lager because if you start with this beer, go into that lager, which is a fantastic, nice, light, crushable, crisp, beautiful lager from our friends over at Common Roots, which we will hear from them later this week. But they also we don't want to we want to build. We want to just go in intensity. So if you're ever doing a flight of beer, if you're ever doing a pairing, start with that lightest in flavor, work your way to boldest. So that's why we're doing it. We want to start light. We want to start easy. Plus, we also kind of anticipate on Christmas Day, this is probably not the only beer you're going to have. So you've probably started a little bit earlier in the day, probably had some other drinks, maybe some cocktails, maybe some eggnog with a little something in there. So something nice, light as well to keep it going. Um, Rather than just, a nice 12%, 11% cherry ale. from our friends over at Trogs. All right. And I did have a question coming in from some of our friends. The Hanukkah is also only doing two live streams as well. So they're not getting more live streams than we are. They are also doing two. So we will get that. So we'll be good. We'll be good, guys. We're good. They're not getting more than you. All right. We're getting nice presents. We're getting, good gifts. I know everyone's drinking this Mad Elf and that's making them mad, but be happy. Be happy. Be a happy elf with this mad elf. Also, I think it's great that, this is, as I mentioned, I drink this beer pretty much every year. This is a traditional holiday beer for me. I like to really get this. It's just, this is like the flavor of Christmas for me. And so with that, it is a holiday beer. Tom, to you, what is a holiday beer?
Oh, I think it's a beer that warms the
There
cockles of
you
my heart.
goggles of your
Absent, yeah. My heart is very small, but this helps it grow to three sizes, so I'm no longer a Grinch. Uh,
okay.
that's very important. But I do like a little bit of spice to it, so we got a little bit of extra little ingredients to get put into this beer. Um, I do like a darker beer.
Yep.
Obviously, winter time is a time for drinking those heavier beers, those ones that you really chew. I mean, I picked this beer with the thought in mind of it being the day after Christmas, and that most elves may be a little bit less than jolly after covering the entire planet in 24 hours. But mostly, to answer your question completely, is yeah, warms the cockles in my heart, gives me that extra chewiness, has some non-traditional ingredients, I would say, that you wouldn't get through the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And Yeah, high ABV too is always a bonus. I feel like to get us through the holidays, some of us need a little extra kick. But Yeah, 11%. That's the way to go
Yeah.
this time of year.
No, 100%. And I was looking because I same way, like a holiday beer. I'm like, I want the spices that I associate with, you know, the winter and the holiday of, I want a little cinnamon, I want a little nutmeg, I want maybe a little orange or cherry or, those kind of, the flavors that I get with like my Christmas cookies and stuff. Like that's what I'm looking for with it. Kind of all those nice spices, spicy kind of baking flavors in there. And fun fact is, that's not, there is actually no definition of what needs to be a holiday beer. It can be a holiday beer. You can call it a holiday beer. But there's actually not a winter beer or a holiday winter seasonal beer. It does have some specifications, but the term is so broad that basically as long as you add a little spices that you would add in other holiday dishes, you're good. And it has to be a light amber to dark, or sometimes even a dark amber or even dark brown color. And the high ABV is always appreciated with it as well. And that's usually because we're adding in a little bit of those darker malts, some additional things like this one. We're adding in those cherries and honey. So you're all going to add that extra ABV to help bump it up. And also the fun fact about this specific holiday beer, it's using local honey. So our friends over at Trogs are using local wildflower honey from around there. And they're not just doing cherries. They are doing what was it? It is Bing, Lambert, Van, Royal Anne, and Montmorency cherries. So they're adding multiple types of cherries, adding that nice bold cherry flavor. They're just calling this that holiday ale. It is a Belgian yeast, so I guess you could call it like a Belgian strong. You could technically call it a Belgian quad, probably, due to the ABV. Um, but it's lovely. It's just a lovely beer. All right. And I myself have not been to the Trogs Brewery myself. Have you been to the actual brewery, Tom?
I have not. You know me, I'm stuck on the West Coast, and unless it was in Philadelphia, New York, or Boston, um, or Burlington, Vermont, I've probably not traveled that far for it.
No, I even though I'm in New York, I'm not that far from the um from the Trogs Brewery over there. I should go. I should go. I got enough friends over in PA. I can head over there. It's not that
Yeah,
far. But we also here in New York, we get their beer all the time. It's very easy to get it. So it's a little bit of like, that kind of, you know, two sides of the coin or double-edged sword of like, oh, I don't need to go over there. I got the beer. I can enjoy this every year, every day. Why do I need to make a trip? But we do want to support them. And they did reach out to us. They were there. Unfortunately, we're sad they were unable to join us tonight. Due to the busyness of the holiday. They were also running a lot of getting a lot of Mad Elf out to to all of the hungry people. They're doing Santa's bidding because I feel like Santa doesn't do alcohol presents. I feel like he does cut that off. So, they were helping out as they're being good
you
little
have the
elves.
wrong Santa, man.
I know.
I know the Santas on the West Coast definitely
No,
give alcohol
I
presents.
know. I see, but having grown up in the Midwest Santa does not do alcohol, but the Northeast Santa does for sure. Which of course. All right, Tom, we got some amazing questions as well going on. So I feel like we can, two of us, between the two of us,
Hmm.
as host of the City Brew Tours Beer Club, both of us working on choosing these beers for the holiday and getting beers for all of our beer club throughout the year. I feel like we can answer pretty much any question involving sourcing of beers, putting beers in boxes. How do we get them? Why these specific beers? And so, with that, um, we're gonna go through this.
I'm
We're gonna
clear. Yeah, I'm clearing some of these ones that we've hit on there.
okay. All right.
Uh,
So let me see. Da. So the Grand Elf or the Mad Elf Grand Cru. Have you had that one before?
I have not had the Grand Cru
So
version, no.
that one, so I will answer this one. So the Grand Cru, it is pretty much the same. It is only a once a year. So the Mad Elf itself is actually available between like October and December. So that's another reason it's a holiday beer, is it's only released during the holidays. And so otherwise, if you brewed I mean, you can have a cherry quad any time of the year. But if you're only brewing it October through December with those additional spices, now it's a holiday beer. The Grand Cru is also only using one type of cherry. So it's a very similar recipe. It's still using spicy Belgian yeast. It's still using chocolate, Munich, and Pilsner malt. However, it is only using Balaton cherries. So that is going to actually affect the flavor of it. So basically, think of it as like a director's cut, right? So you have the Mad Elf that comes out every year, right? You see it on TV, you see it every year. Every year we watch. What's your favorite Christmas movie, Tom?
My favorite Christmas movie was The Ref,
Okay.
but now with Kevin Spacey and his problems, that's had to kind of drop down a little bit. So then Die Hard moved into the number one
Okay. Yeah.
spot for me.
Right. Right. So let's say that, the regular Mad Elf is the TV version of Die Hard. It's fine. That's great.
Mhm.
You're gonna watch it all the time, right? The Grand Cru is the unedited version of Die Hard. So it's got a little bit more to it, a little bit same ABV, but you're not going to get it as often. You're not going to see it as often. You gotta go find it. You gotta go get it. So that's kind of the Grand Cru for that. It's very similar beer, but it is going to have just a little bit more difference to it as well. All right. And was this Mad Elf specifically chosen for this holiday beer tasting box?
It was absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we had a selection of I mean, hundreds of beers, perhaps, that we started whittling down based on our criteria. So I like to give us a mix because we have people who like, I hate IPAs. I only like IPAs. I don't like sours. I don't, this, that, and the other. So as we curate this box, we go through lists of our partner breweries, of things that we can get in quantity. We start working on this in the summer, and start setting things up as best we can to get things through. Even then, things fall through the cracks, and we get last minute switches sometimes. As we work individually with the breweries, we work with our distributors, as we work with, I mean, you got to let's be straight. It's best to go directly to the brewery, right, Jonathan? Whenever we can,
100%. 100%.
right? That we know that that's likely going to follow through to get us from point A to point B. But the logistics that are involved in putting these all together is both fun and maddening at the same time.
Yeah.
I would have to say.
Yeah, no, and we've been doing this multiple years, and we don't want to also just give you guys the same beer, same breweries year after year. We want to kind of try to mix it up, try to widen it as more breweries are formed and more breweries are made. That gives us more options, but also of course, we are also trying to get beer to all across the country. And so getting it to one spot and then back out, sometimes there are logistics with that. So unfortunately, with all the beers, not every beer is a member of one of the City Brew Tours public tours. Some of them are only for our boxes, which also gives us that big advantage of getting you guys beers that you may not normally get in your state or in your part of the country. And that's so that we can get you different styles and mix it up. Because if we were only doing, beer from just the specific brew tours, some of those breweries don't do major canning, don't do major distribution, and so they can't provide as many cans as we need. So we got to do a little outsourcing with that as well. So that's what does
We
make.
did we did break the mold a little bit this year. We listened to the number of people who like, we really listened to style last year. What can you get this? Can you get that? And we really aimed for that along the way. So we do have a lot of breweries we have history with in these boxes. A lot of breweries were a little bit more Portland, Oregon centric early on in our career because of our proximity to Oregon and Washington and so forth. We moved away from those.
Yeah,
We had to break some breweries' hearts this year to tell them we were going in a different direction, but they'll probably be back in the next year or the year after that, based on that. So really, this year was based on style and getting the best style variety of styles that we could in this box, for sure.
yeah, yeah, and that I think that's kind of where sometimes regions do kind of with being specific to getting from the breweries, that does sometimes have that hindrance of everyone's like, we all have IPAs. We can't do a box
Hmm.
of 12 IPAs. I mean, we could. And places do them. But yeah, we want to get you guys, that wide taste of flavor, as many varieties of those beers as we can. And just try and get kind of that breadth. And that's also where, for a lot of our City Brew Tours Beer Club fans, that's the same thing. We're trying to, do a little branching out, try and get you guys more flavors, more styles with that. Um, I will say we haven't used, I know someone asked about specifically, some beers from New Mexico. We may get some next year. Again, we're always trying to add new breweries, trying to get it. It's also, again, there's over,
We have had we have had New Mexico in the past.
we have.
We
No,
did
we
have
have.
yes.
Which one was that? That was the,
That was the penguin tuxedo
yes,
that came from uh, why can't I think of it was
Albert.
the it's the charity brewery.
Yeah.
Um, uh, they closed in Portland and only operate in New Mexico now. Um, and I've completely forgotten what they are. Uh, yeah. Um, let me Google.
Yeah,
Let me
we'll figure
Google.
it out. But yes, we have featured breweries in New Mexico, and I know others. And again, breweries, it's been a very interesting year for breweries and the beer industry in general. A lot of breweries are opening up, a lot are closing down. So there's that whole shift. Others are partnering with other breweries just because of, how the industry and the economy is working, that like they just gotta kind of keep their heads up and keep moving forward. So there is always kind of that flux, which always gives us great opportunities to get beers from different places in Florida, different places in New Mexico, parts of New York. I know we are not featuring Weyerbacher in this box, but we have featured them in our monthly box before. And so there are some breweries that we try to get, those different styles that are really working with that, and kind of moving forward and getting that variety for you guys as well. Um,
It was
and
Ex Novo, by the way.
oh, Exnova. Oh yeah,
Ex.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
So I do also have to say, someone has also mentioned that this is their first version with time with our box. Um, I have to ask because they're mentioning the Illinois Lodi box past couple years. Is that the Illinois Lodi Tap House 24 beer box? Because if it is, I also had that this year. It's fantastic. But it's 24 beers, so it's a lot of beers, and they're all Christmas ales, Christmas beers, which is amazing. But it's like this one. Not all of them are Christmas. We got the Mad Elf today. But we also got some different styles for you guys in there as well. So we got a little bit different things moving forward with it. And there's not a specific theme with the box. We just get mixing it up. Get you guys variety. Just like if you looked at the 12 days of Christmas, there's different animals, different songs, different amounts of things. We're mixing it up with different types of beer in there. But I'm getting through this beer too fast, Tom. I'm just that
Oh
tired.
yeah, you're already a little buzzy going on.
No, I'm not
Um,
buzzy. I'm just
so
halfway through.
uh, okay,
I'm gonna get thirsty. I
yeah.
might pop open
So
a second one.
how
We'll
would
see.
so we got a question? How do we rate this beer? Um,
Ooh, out of five. Ooh. I mean, again, I drink this beer every year, and
mhm.
I have this specific beer every year during the holidays. So I mean, if I'm having it every year, I would have to put it like a five, I feel like. Definitely a four for 4.8. How about that?
There we go.
How
See
about you?
now there's another question asking us not to what are your favorite days, and so
Oh, they're trying to
I'm gonna
sneak.
well they say not the beer, don't leak the beer for me from this box, and I will say the first 4 to 5 beers are my favorite. I think it started off really strong with those 4 or 5 beers. I mean, not that the other ones are. I think I kind of front loaded these a little bit
I
as
think
far
so.
as um, how I would drink these beers. I think I would definitely have started with the common roots, which everybody's drank on
Yep.
on the beginning because I want to keep that nice crisp palate. It's a good kind of low ABV. a beer. There's also a question about beer flights between IPAs and porters and stouts. Which should come
That's a
first,
hard
since
one.
both can be so strong from a flavor and mouthfeel perspective. So for me, I tend to drink the IPA before I drink the stout,
Yeah.
because um, the stout is going to bring my palate back into balance.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit it with the hops pretty hard, and then uh, go back to smooth it out. Because that smoothness of the stout, especially if it's like an oatmeal stout
Yeah.
or something that's flaked, it's just going to balance that out. Obviously, whenever I try and drink a set of beers, I go yellow. I go yellow, malty, hoppy, wild card. That's my thing. And while the stout fills the wild card, or fills both the wild card and the um, the malty ness of it, I put this Mad Elf more in the malty version, like ambers, quads, um, reds. Those are all kind of like that. Those are like my initial, like, because they're not shocking to the system. They don't have that real thickness to them. Some have, like this one, have a little thickness, but that would be how I would drink these beers. So that being said, I think we started off pretty damn strong, and we continue. So for me, the first part of the box is everything that I kind of reached for, and then I kind of tried to repeat that with you throughout the next sets of four
Yeah.
along the way, and change and kind of change and mix those up. So when we were picking these beers and we were talking about them back and forth, um, I put a proposed list to Jonathan. Jonathan agreed with me, except for Matt Elf. I think
Yeah.
he wanted Matt Elf at the end,
Yeah. I
and
did. I
I
did.
and
Sorry,
I was like,
guys.
no. I like this is my live stream beer. This is the one that I want to put. So we arm wrestled over this, and Jonathan
I lost.
honestly
I
kind of just
lost.
he acquiesced. You just gave up. I was
Yeah.
such a strong, dominant personality. I ran you over like a bulldozer with that.
But again,
So
I
yeah,
love this beer. I love this beer that I'm like, you know what? I get to drink it, so it's fine.
absolutely.
I would say I agree with you. Definitely, we are going through those cycles. I had to do a little refresher. There are a few in there. I wouldn't say there's any wild cards that are like way super any crazy beers. There are some that I am excited about. Days 7, 9, and 10 are good, are beers that I really enjoy.
Hmm.
So for those, don't sneak ahead. Just look forward to to next week. Look forward to 7, 9, and 10. Those are good beers. It definitely is there's a really good mix in here.
See,
That
I'm interested why you skipped day eight, because I'm thinking day eight is like for me it 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 jumps out there too, though. So it's interesting that you do 7, 9,
I
9, and 10. Maybe because
I
it's just in your list, but
Yeah, no, I like day 8 for sure. I do like day 8. All right. I like all of them.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I liked all of
I
them.
get it. Yeah.
No, day eight's good. I would say if there's any semi wild cards, 8 would be the as it would say it's not traditional. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hmm.
Not traditional.
Hmm.
That's all we're going with.
True, true, true.
No other hints in there for you guys. That's it. Um, but it's it's good. There's great beers. Again, every style, great breweries. I think it's just this is also kind of I feel like this box as well. We've been doing this several years. We've been trying to take what people like, what works well, what kind of keeps things moving forward, and we're learning, right? So I think every year we try to adjust things a little bit, right? So for some, I know we've had some people just now joining us. So our numbers have rised a little bit, and that's technical issues. We've got understand that. But as we're with this box, I would say we've listened to you guys. Everyone loves a gift. We got not only do we have in there those glasses, which again, loving. We got those stickers back, guys. We got stickers back, which was a big thing. People love their swag, love their stickers. Also let you know some breweries that are going to be in there because there's some that are in there, others that are friends of City Brew Tours, others that have might be in this box, might be in our Hanukkah box, but that are going to be, are some places that we love to showcase that they might not get as much exposure because now we're sending these all across the country as well. So I just overall like we're trying to listen every year, try to move things, get you guys as much content, as much flavor, as much, make this worth your guys' while. And so that is where, you know, we may be only doing two live streams, but that's okay. Because again, day 12, we're
Well,
gonna knock it out of the
I
park.
mean, we definitely had to figure out how, with the overlap of Hanukkah and
Yeah.
Christmas, how do we do two live streams? Obviously, we already have a technical difficulty. We tested the crap out of this. We just
Yeah.
didn't test the chat. Like
Which is yeah.
that's the one thing that we forgot.
Yeah.
Obviously, reared its ugly head, and I mean, we're working on it. We got the Q&A going on. We've got
Yeah.
we found a way,
We got this.
and we will have this all figured out for the next one, because the next Hanukkah stream and the next Christmas stream do not overlap,
No.
so there won't be any there. That problem will be solved that
Yeah.
way. So again, apologies for the technical difficulties, but it happens. And as
And it
far
only
as
happens like like once a century that Hanukkah and Christmas are on the same day. Like
there, well, yeah, I mean, the fact that they both started on the
the
night of the
25th.
25th is pretty. I mean, the lunar calendar with the regular calendar going
It's
across
rare.
is
Yeah.
it is rare. But as a uh, Catholic, I guess I would call myself, because I was raised Catholic and lived in a Jewish home for most of my life. I've studied both traditions and been a part of both traditions for many years. Um, it's nice when it happens. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Chrismica is a Hanukkah mess. It it's
It's a
great when
it's
it happens.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've moved more into Festivus. Is more my holiday of choice. The Festivus poll was definitely up this year for me, and we aired our grievances and did feats of strength. But I wish I would have had this beer. That would have definitely helped with the feats of strength and whatnot. But so yeah, we are, after 4 years of doing this, we definitely looked at what is the best way to go about this. How do we get the most bang for our buck? Our panel that's going to happen on the second live stream is going to be
Yeah.
pretty great. I mean, when you get multiple brewers in one room where they can bounce off of each other, and you've got a host like Jonathan who can throw out good questions, it's going to be something not to miss for sure.
Yeah, and I can guarantee right now that we have multiple breweries and brewers and members from the breweries coming in on the next live stream. So I know there's some like, some of the lackluster. You're just stuck with me and Tom today. That's okay though. We're here. We're setting those expectations. We're telling you that, next week or the next live stream. Um, we're coming at you with multiple brewers, lots of information. You're going to be able to ask them about beers that you've been drinking, that you've had, enjoyed, maybe you haven't enjoyed yet. We'll see. We'll see who shows up. Because again, we're not telling you who the breweries are. You got to find that out day by day. And
Yeah, which
so
ones of those stickers are real, which ones are not? It's kind of like my
yeah,
tours, Jonathan. Half of what I tell you is true, half of what I tell you is false. You
yeah.
got to figure out which one is which.
Yeah, no, as I tell everyone, Google's wrong. So whatever, you just gotta take my word for it. You just
Hmm.
gotta take it. So yeah, maybe there are some beers from Market Garden. Maybe there are some beers from Threes Brewing. Maybe there are who else we got in this sticker pack? Von Trapp, Bear Moose, Common Roots. Well, okay, so we got one that we know. We got one. We know one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oxbow, Allagash. Who's gonna be in there? Who's gonna show up on the 12th day? We don't know. Oh, I know, but we're gonna see. Um, we're gonna make sure that this is gonna work for you guys. We're gonna make this. Um, it's gonna be a good time. I'm very very excited for it as well.
What else you got on the list here, sir?
So I'm gonna showcase something that I think I like to do with this beer. So as I said, I drink this beer every year. Have how do you partake in beer cocktails very often?
Rarely.
Rarely, right? So you're
Hmm.
familiar with the half and half. Yeah,
Absolutely.
right?
That's I
100%.
I mean the snake bite was my introduction into um uh getting beer down my gullet. I had to have some cider, sweet cider to
Yeah.
cut through the beer when I was a youngin. Uh but yeah.
Yeah. So what I do every year with this one, someone introduced this to me many years ago, and I just couldn't stop it ever since. And then at the bar that I also bartend at, and we had Mad Elf on draft. I could not but help myself to introduce this. So you get Mad Elf, usually about half a glass, and then you get if you can, a nitro stout or some type of other chocolate stout, and you do a half and half, and you do a black and red, and that. Basically, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, why are we mixing beers? Why are we doing this? We can't do this. This is, not traditional, not kosher to say." But doing a mixing two beers together is nothing new. It's been happening it's been happening for at least, you know, 400 years. Even the original the porter was created as a in-house beer cocktail, where basically, the porters, the dock workers, they couldn't enjoy those darker beers due to taxations on the dark malts, on the stouts, and everything. And so they actually couldn't really mix all that together. And so what they would do is they would take a pale ale, put a little bit of a stout on there, and then add a little bit of liquor, and that made the dark beers. And then that introduced into using those same practices of pale malts and a little bit of the darker malt to overpower the pale malt into the brewing process and created commercial brewing. But also doing beer cocktails, shandies, radlers, micheladas, things like that. Mixing beers with other liquids and other beers is nothing new, been happening since the 1500s, really prominently since the 17, 1800s. And so doing something like a half and half, or in this case, a black and blue or a black and red, is a fantastic way to really cut through if you think this beer is a little too boozy. If you're like it's a little too rich, a little too boozy, and that chocolate stout on there, it cuts down the boozy flavor, like in the alcohol flavor, and then it adds in that sweetness and makes it like a chocolate cherry. And so every year, if you have the chance, get a chocolate stout, pour it in, or any type of stout, really, and do a half and half with this beer. You will thank me. It is delicious. It just works really, really well with that. I do also have to, as I'm answering this, somebody did ask, how many beers have I had today? This is my first beer, guys. All right. It's my first beer of the day. I haven't been drinking all day. Um, it's okay. That question did get me off guard, so that's why I looked at it. But no, this is my first beer. I haven't been drinking all day. I'm sorry. This is just me. This is me unfiltered. I don't need beer to be off the walls.
Yeah, yeah.
It just is what it is. Um, and there you go. Dusty just mentioned they do occasionally do the Grand Cacao Chocolate Stout and the Mad Elf. They do a chocolate elf at the brewery itself. So they do that blend, that black and red. But if you can do it at your home, you get a little Mad Elf. Find your chocolate stout mixed in there. It is, it's Christmas, right? Chocolate cherries, cordials, things like that. It just works really, really well to keep, just to help kind of cut down some of those stronger flavors. Since I know, especially doing tours, that a lot of people aren't really into Belgian yeast because it has very specific flavors on the palate. So if there is any way to kind of cut some of those flavors, kind of, you know, tame it down, it does work really, really well. But I am going to answer another question here because this is what we're doing today. We're just answering questions. We're here, we're chilling. I'm having a beer, maybe a couple beers by the end of this. We'll see. Because this is what I'm giving the people what they want. But what would you pair with this beer? I know kind of the direction I would go. Because it is a cherry quad, technically, strong ale. Um, I would go more savory. I would probably let me take a test. Do you have any ideas, Tom?
For me, I go like I go similar. That's that. So I'm gonna do this with a spice cake. I'm
Ooh,
gonna go dessert. I
okay.
might throw honestly as far as like where I thought you were going with your cocktail was doing this as a float. So some French vanilla ice cream in this
Yeah.
as a beer float would be very good. And I would go French vanilla. I would not just go regular vanilla. I
No,
want
no, no,
that
no. 100%.
extra piece with that. Um, and I guess that might be a little bit contrast just because of the cream
Sure.
is going to change the texture of this and cut through some of the spice, and then the spice is going to cut through some of the fat of that French vanilla. um, but yeah, this to me, this goes with dessert.
Yeah.
This is after we had the big fatted pig from Christmas dinner and the prime rib, whatever. I'm full. I'm not I'm not quite full enough, so I want to really punish myself. So this beer plus something really rich and creamy, that's what I'm going to go with.
I know. I appreciate that. And definitely I would like a lot of people don't like fruitcake, which I find myself, I
Mm.
love fruitcake, spice cake, all of those flavors in there. As a, you know, I'm half German, so like I have to like fruitcake, right? But um, this would go with along those spice cakes, that dessert. Definitely. French vanilla ice cream in there would be fantastic. I
Hmm.
myself would probably go more, I would go a little bit more contrasting. And I would actually probably do it with like a ham, like a nice honey glazed ham, which
Hmm.
just if you want to have this a little bit earlier in the day, if you want to really help out with like the family, we got kids running around, presents being open, you got that ham, have that savory slight sweetness of the ham is going to help cut through some of the sweetness of this beer. So it's going to help balance it out a little bit, but you still have those ideas of kind of the sweetness, especially if you're doing a little more traditional. Kind of the honey of that's going to work with the honey of this and it's going to pair really nicely with it. Um, or just a really, really nice, rich brie. That's what I want.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like a
yeah,
nice triple cream,
yeah.
warmed brie with a little honey, maybe a little sage on top or a little thyme. That's also, I think we found a compromise. We found a compromise
Yeah.
in there as well. Um,
I'm gonna rapid fire some of these real quick
Do it because we got a
while we go.
lot. We got
Okay.
a lot.
Yeah. Was there a theme with this year's beer tasting box, or were you just mixing up? We never really do a theme. It is mostly just mixing it up. We're trying to find the best beers possible for you with a variety uh, of just get we so, and this dials into the next one, which is an elevator pitch for City Brew Tours. So we do edutainment. We want to give you behind the scenes access, a little bit extra than what you can get from just buying it at the store or going to a brewery. And we want to teach you a little bit about brewing and whatnot. So these boxes, when we build them, we try and extend your palates. Like I was saying earlier before, you get people who say, "Oh, I don't like IPAs." Uh, my goal in a box is to find an IPA that you will like, whether it's
Yeah.
a New England IPA, some sort of gateway beer. It's also the reason why we start with a yellow beer to start out with. We want those folks who drink exclusively Coors Light or whatever to know that there are beers that are made by the craft community that are similar to your easygoing palate beer, but with better ingredients and with not that Coors Light is bad. I mean, it is for
Yeah.
me, but some people who like it, sure, great, we'll go that way. But at City Brew Tours, we want to make sure that we're giving you the opportunity to expand your horizons as best we can. Um, and so we have 24 different cities that we're in. We've got a number of corporate cities and a number of franchises. And so each city, when you go to visit, you should be learning about that city's beer scene as well as being able to go to 3 breweries and have a snack along the way and get some behind the scenes and whatnot. So our boxes kind of mirror that as well. Um, so, Jonathan, what is the proper glass to drink Mad Elf from?
I would actually do a tulip glass. I know I'm not drinking it out of a tulip glass because I wanted to showcase our box glass tonight. I would do a tulip. Most Belgians, you're gonna want them out of a tulip shaped. Goblet's fine, but you want that a little bit rounded so then the nose of the yeast, the Belgian yeast, gets up in there and gets up into your palate. Also, that way you can get your hand into that goblet, into that tulip, help warm it up just slightly because like a lot of stouts, porters, a lot of Belgian ales, you want them to get a little bit closer to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, like cellar temperature. So then you can get a lot of that sweetness from the malt, and that yeast really opens up. So you really get those strong stone fruit, cherry flavors coming out of it. So I would say goblet slash tulip.
All right.
What else we got?
Um,
I'm ready.
Do you do you think this is your best compilation of beers you've put out? Don't make me pick between my children.
No.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like we've done a really good job. We've kept it at the same level as the rest of our beers. We set the bar high and do our best to make sure that you're getting great quality beer and, like we said, a variety of different beers that may challenge certain people along the way.
I would say this is a great combination of beers. That's what I'm
Yes.
gonna say. Is
Yeah.
it the
I
best?
would
It's a
say
great
honestly, so
combination.
I would say combination wise, it may be our most well-rounded box because we
100%.
definitely listen to folks to
Yeah.
from the past years to try and meet those things. Are the Hanukkah beers different? Absolutely, they are different. And sorry, you can no longer get Hanukkah boxes because we sold out of the Hanukkah boxes. But if you want to buy another Christmas box because you liked it and you want another piece, we'll have those. I feel like we've got a handful left. It's not very many,
Okay.
but we do have more, and we'll continue to ship them until they're gone. Which day is the next live stream? It is on day 12, January 5th. Is that
Yep.
correct?
That is
Okay.
correct.
All right. And that's a Sunday, right? Yes, it is.
That's next Sunday or a week from Sunday.
A week
Yes.
from Sunday. Yes. So
Yes.
you have no excuses. You should come to the live stream on Sunday.
I'll
Uh,
be there.
Winter Doldrums. I'll be there. I will be there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm new to y'all. Do you do other boxes throughout the year? Yes, we have City Brew Tours Beer Club that we do a different box from a different location once a month. You can only get that box during that month as well. So check us out. You can go to the same website that you bought this from or someone else bought it from, which is shop at citycrewtours.com. Jonathan is the host,
Yep.
and we do a similar live stream once a month with those. And we definitely curate those beers in a similar way, but they are specific to a location. We treat it like a road trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And if you are having a blast with me, you can stick with me for 12 months out of the year and we just keep going with it. Some of our viewers tonight are members of the City Brew Tours Beer Club. They saw me 2 weeks ago. They're going to see me in 2 weeks again as well.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you get a lot of me in the next month.
Um, a quick conversation. Um, that we have. I'm gonna probably gonna have to dip here in a second. So
Yeah.
if I don't get through all these before I have to go,
I will finish them and
I
we'll
had
go.
my hour carved out and it got it. I found a 2013 Mad Elf bottle in my beer fridge before the show tonight. So glad you put it in the box. That's awesome. I'd be curious to see how that vertical flight tasting would be one versus the other.
Oh yeah.
That's one of my favorite things to do is to taste beers that can be aged along the way. Um, all right, that one's good. Um,
Sours. What's your opinion
what
on sours, Tom?
depends on the sour.
Oh,
And
kettle
depends on
sour
what
or
mood.
wild sour?
Oh, wild sour over kettle sour. I will do a kettle sour, but I have to be so either way. I have to be in the mood
Okay.
for sours. Um, it's I used to like I had a sour phase, but it's too much. Like I would just rather go cider than sour most
Okay.
times. Like if I'm going for something fruity, and most sours are fruity, but a wild farmhouse ale um, that can get me. Like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I where if it so if I'm drinking 3 or 4 beers and I'm looking at the list, um, depends what mood I'm in, but I'm going to most likely go IPA sour, IPA separate, and then a sour to balance out the hop that I just got hit with, and then move on to my next ones. And it depends how I start. Like I tend to start with IPAs. It depends on again the time of the year, but Kolsch's and whatnot usually get me going during the summer with that. So it also depends who I'm drinking with.
Yeah.
What about you, Jonathan?
So I love sours. Like I enjoy most of them. A classic goza I will get 100% of the time, and like a non-fruited goza, so it has the nice citrusy fruit to it. But I also just I also prefer wild fermented. Give me a Berliner Weiss, I'm in. Give me a wild ale that also is something that's a little bit off the table. One of the local breweries here in New York, Wild East, did a pickle inspired wild ale that just tasted like pickle brine, which was fantastic from second use cucumbers. So I like the weird stuff, but yeah, no, give me a good sour, especially in the summer. But also, if I'm doing a flight, I'll start with that lager, throw that IPA sour, and then my stout because then that sweetness is going to counteract any of that sourness. And
Mhm.
again, just like how I like to balance out that black and red with that sweetness of that cherry. I'm balancing out that sweetness with any fruit that's balanced that I just got hit with, and it's really going to tone it down for me as well. So I like adding sours, and most breweries that do really well at sours also do really well at stouts, and that's because they're used to using adjuncts, and so they're really good at balancing adjuncts with their malts and hops, which is something just to think about. So, and
So we
then
got two from George that are about a half an hour apart.
yes,
Why don't brewers do more cask ale? That's because not very many people buy cask, and the engine to do a cask ale is expensive. Um, that's those are my two easy answers with those.
yeah,
Any other? I mean, it comes down to if it doesn't sell, they're not going to do it. So the people who do cask ales are more they're more into cascales on their own, I would
yeah,
say. But you got to find a niche of people who are going to want to do it because unless you live in England where they every bar has a cask engine, it's kind of hard to come by with that
Yeah.
other answers for that.
I would say it's two of them are logistics. One is having a cask tap because that's not traditional, and you need that gravity fed tap. You can't just hook it up to a gas fed tap line. So not every brewery has that. They are more expensive, and it takes a different type of keg. So it's not a traditional half barrel or six stole keg. It is a cask keg. So that's another cost. So a lot of breweries don't do it because those are two upfront costs that they would have to have. They could, of course, could rent them, but now that's a third cost. And so that's why a lot of them don't do it, and they just don't sell. Some breweries that specialize in European styles will do that investment, and they will do it, and they do it well. But as Tom said, most people outside of specific regions do not like warm beer. And it's not warm. Again, it's cellar temperature. It's 48 to 55
Mhm.
degrees Fahrenheit. It's still very palatable. I love cask ale. I think it makes even in English mild or an ESB like fantastic. It brings out the really nice richness, but it is the low carbonation. It is a little bit warmer, and it just doesn't quite. Um, it's not what people are expecting. So it's hard to do that, and you can't do that at mass level because they are in much smaller kegs as well. What else we got? What else we got? Well, I think we're answering. Are we answering all these questions, Tom? Are we
We've gone
crushing
through. I've
through?
marked all the ones. Some of them are just like Ralph reaching out to Norman. But George did have one last one. Have you even done a? Have you ever done a Weyerbacher, which is a brewery in PA? I have not.
So
Do you know them?
we did feature Weyerbacher in one of our boxes. I think it was their Pennsylvania box. We have featured them before. I've enjoyed their beer. They do specifically Belgian style ales or Belgian style beers. They are a fantastic brewery. Lovely people. In our City Brew Tours Beer Club. 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we actually talked to the brewer, one of the brewers and owners of Weyerbacher, and we enjoyed their Merry Monks on the live stream. So yes, we have worked with them. We have featured them. Again, it is not a threat that you're stuck with me for 12 months. It's more of like an encouragement that you get to talk to me for 12 months if you join the City Brew Tours Beer Club. But we do focus on brewers and in those regions and get them on the live stream because it is only one live stream a month. And again, we're gonna wrap it up soon because we are want to be mindful of everyone's time as well. Because you've listened to me and Tom answer all these questions and talk for literally the past hour. Tom, it's been an hour, which is insane.
Mhm.
But
I got yeah. It's been an hour since I got here too.
yeah,
So
it's been an hour.
I fulfilled my commitment to you, Jonathan,
You
by being here
did.
for an hour.
And I fulfilled my commitment to myself of being able to talk for an hour straight. Um, I know that for some of our consistent listeners, we did not have any brewers tonight. They're all busy keeping the breweries running tonight, all right? But I promise you, come back on the 5th, January 5th, day 12. We are going to have fantastic breweries coming on. We're gonna have multiple breweries. We're gonna have, we're gonna have the chat working. We're gonna have everything moving forward, and we're gonna keep this so that you guys can ask all those questions. You can get everything from them. We're gonna learn about where all the different breweries, some of their background, some of their brewing styles, what makes some of these beers special, everything. We're gonna learn about all this stuff. And we're just gonna keep all of it kind of going. We're gonna have a good time. I am gonna answer one last question because I think that this is a very important one as well. Why haven't we featured an Atlanta brewery yet? And I actually will say it's a logistical reason. Is that getting beer shipped from Atlanta is actually a little tricky. Georgia itself has some very strict laws. That's why there are sometimes breweries and states that we are unable to feature in our boxes, because every state has their own shipping distribution laws. So if you're ever like, oh, I want a beer from this state, I wouldn't I want a beer from Atlanta. I love beer from Atlanta. I want beers from other states. I want beer from Alaska. I love Hawaiian beer. We're probably not going to get them for a variety of reasons. One of those is there are specific rules and regulations, so maybe we just can't get them shipped to us due to their distribution, their shipping, their regulations within state. Um, so it's not that we don't want to, again, we're going to listen to you guys. We're going to do our best to get as many states as we can, but there are some things that are out of our control.
Speaking
Tom,
of out of our control, I gotta go.
all right.
That was the get moving. Santa's got me on another mission. So
Tom,
thank you
you
all for showing
go.
up. We'll see you on the 5th.
We'll
Jonathan
be,
will wrap you up,
yeah.
and we will catch you all. Well, we'll give you more. We're gonna do a solid time with the Brewers on the 5th. And I will say it'll be more than an hour on the 5th. So come on
Yes.
back.
For tonight, Tom, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you, sir. We'll see you
And
soon.
even Santa might show up on that one. I've been
Well,
working on getting him in the room.
I
So
know, guys. I know everyone loves Santa, so we're gonna try and get him on here. But Tom, we'll
peace out, guys.
see you on the 5th. For everyone else that is still here, we are gonna wrap this up soon. I know it's been an hour of answering questions and going through different styles and trying to get you guys, but if there are any last minute questions, we will get those for you. Otherwise, you know, again, with this box, keep moving forward. You got your booklet. Go through. If you enjoyed the Common Earth Lager, put how you rate that in there. If you enjoyed the Mad Elf, put that in there. Keep track of that so then you can do this. Also, you can on Untapped, you can also input that, you can put City Brew Tours as a venue. So then we know that you have had that beer with us on the live stream with the Christmas box. So we can keep track of that as well. So you can share that with your friends and keep that moving forward. Again, if you're just now getting in and you're like, I want my other friends to have this, to enjoy these beers, we still have a few left. Go to shop.citybrewtours.com. You get these beers. We'll get this box out to you. We got a few left with that as well. And again, keep going through this with this tasting wheel. We're gonna hit all these flavors in the next 12 beers. We're gonna get all of these with you. We're gonna get a lot of different ABVs, some low ABVs, some probably nothing much higher than this, but we're gonna get that moving forward with you guys. And I think with that, you guys, everyone that's here, you have lasted over an hour with me and Tom talking about all these beers. Um, we appreciate all of this. Um, you know, we we're gonna enjoy all these things with this. Um, you know, we're gonna I'm gonna keep just answering these questions because I got a few more that just followed up in here as well. And then so last one that I'm gonna get. Notice that the next City Brew Tours Beer Club is Rhode Island. We actually just did Rhode Island, so that was actually our December box. With the City Brew Tours Beer Club, that live stream is usually the second week of the month. And then Colorado. Um, and then, are they going states versus cities? So basically, what we're doing with the City Brew Tours Beer Club, sometimes we do go specifically in cities. We have done like specifically like Pittsburgh, which is how we were able to feature specific, breweries in there with, smaller breweries. That's how we've featured breweries like Weyerbacher and things like that. And then like with Rhode Island, it's so small that we actually went, a little bit more into the state. with Colorado, we're still finalizing some of that stuff. So we are finalizing some of those details. So as we finalize some of those, they may be within like a specific region. Like we've done Central Connecticut, because all those towns are so small. So like you have New Haven, you have North Haven, and so that one we were able to and do multiple cities to get all of those in there. So it might be a region of Colorado, it might be, but as we finalize those, we'll be able to answer that a little bit closer. New Jersey, no, yeah, that Rhode Island, New Jersey, Colorado. Thank you, Ralph, keeping me honest with there. Um, yeah, no, New Jersey is also kind of the same thing. Might be a little more like regional within there. So it's not going to be the full state, but it'll be breweries within usually like within like 30 minutes to an hour, so that they are closer together. But as you know, with a lot of these states, there's a lot of small towns. So they might be state-wise, but regions, close regions within there. So for Untapped, if you do City Brew Tours as a venue, so if you do that as the venue, City Brew Tours will show up, and then you can use that when you're tagging us, and then we'll be able to know that you're doing that on the holiday box. Also, if it does help if on the description you say that's the holiday box, um 12 beers Christmas, then that just lets us know, keep track, let us know that you guys are liking it, and enjoying our boxes. With that though, I know you guys, you got more things to do. You got to keep this party going. I know some offices are unfortunately open tomorrow. This beer definitely helps with that. But thank you, everyone that has been on here, everyone that's over in our YouTube land. We're not forgetting about you guys. Thank you guys so much for being there. Everyone over on our live stream. I got one last question from Nick. I got a raised hand, or that's a high five. I don't know, Nick. I don't know if that's a high five or a question, or Doug. You gotta go ahead and raising your hands in there. But let me know if you have any of those other questions in there before. But we are gonna get going soon. If that's just a wave. If that was a wave of hey, thank you. Thank you so much. But thank you guys. Thank you everyone for joining. Again, come back in on January 5th. We're gonna wrap up this 12 beers of Christmas. We're gonna go all out, get you guys multiple breweries involved, maybe even Santa. I know some of our fellow listeners love having our bad Santa. We'll get you guys some more people involved in here. And we will get you guys again. We're gonna talk about all the beers that you've had between now and then, and we're gonna have a good time. So with that, I'm gonna say farewell, good night, and to all a good night, right? I think that's what we say. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, to all a good night. See you guys all on January 5th. All right. So, Nick just asked what happens when you drink the Common Roots Lager and Mad Elf to catch up. Um, that's a really great question, Nick. That means that's a good time. So if you do not drink any of the beers, sequentially, then and you got to catch up, then just have a good time. Definitely drink the Common Roots first, then the Mad Elf, but otherwise, just enjoy it. You're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be great. The I will say the Common Roots Lager, easy, crushable, really good beer. It's also good. Watch Die Hard. If you haven't yet, watch the Christmas movie, watch Die Hard, have a Common Roots Lager. That's going to get you a good night at the end there. All right. With that, good night, everybody. And we'll see you guys all on the 5th. All right.